All right. Hi, everybody. This is SolarSystemScope.com, and it's a really cool resource where you can explore the different planets and the different moons and all the different things in our solar system. When you start it, you'll see the video that I played at the beginning, but once you click, you're able to interact a little bit. Now, to turn off the sound, I'm going to show you the basic interface and then some of the things it shows you, and then you can go on and play around. So if you click here, this is where you can turn off the sound. I turned off the music so it wasn't over my video. And then there's this sound effects thing. I don't know if you can hear it, but there are some sound effects playing. So then if we just click anywhere else, I'm guessing you could click the back button as well. We get back to this interface. If you use the scroll wheel, you will scroll out. And you can scroll out very, very far, just like you saw in the video. I won't waste your time on that. You can also click this little eye if you want to hide the interface around it. So if we click that, that disappears and you can get a better view. And some of the settings, I'll go over them over here. If we click on here, you'll notice number one, the planets. If the sun, I hope you know this, but if you don't, if the sun is this large, there's no way the Earth would be this large. The Earth is much, 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 much smaller, but it's so small we'd have a really hard time seeing it. So let's go into these settings. I think this is the one that has the correct settings in it. Oh, cool. Okay, we'll get back to that one actually. Let's go into the settings menu, and you'll see that it says sizes, large and realistic. If we drag this over to realistic, this is more the actual size. Right? The sun is really, really big. The planets are much, much smaller and much farther away, but they're hard to see. So if you wanted to enlarge them, realize, yes, that's a cool way of looking at it, but realize they're a lot smaller and they're a lot farther away. Other things, draggable planets, I'm not quite sure why that would matter. We'll get to that. We'll get to what I just did in a second. You can hide the moons if you want. I like to show the moons. The dwarf planets, things like Pluto and Make and all those other things I like to show. Comets, I want them to show. Any spacecraft out there that we know of, I want it to show. I want the stars to show. We can click this down. Star names, sure. All right, let's show everything. Constellation lines. Those are cool. I'm actually going to hide those. And then there are other things. I want my constellation names off. I don't want them in the way. I want my asteroid belt showing. All those things. Distant names and lines. Let's see if those line. No, I will keep those hidden. Perfect. All right, so you can set all your settings there. You can go into system settings. You can change the language if you want. If you want the quality, maybe I want, I can't do that. HD, maybe I can do good. All right, cool. So this will reload it apparently and make it a little bit higher quality. I'd imagine if you have a slow computer or a slow internet connection, that would take quite a while. We'll see how well that runs. Okay, looks good to me. And then you can go into obviously the number of stars showing and all that stuff. You could say, hey, I want it in miles and Fahrenheit or Celsius and kilometers. Geolocation, you could set. This is for when you're on the planet's surface, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So let me click OK. I'll click OK. So now we're in this view. Now we can search for certain things. So maybe I'm looking for something very specific. I want to find where Io is. For some reason it's not letting me type. Interesting. Strange. Well, we can click on these things and we can find it. You should be able to type, and for some reason it's not letting me right now. Perhaps there's something going on with my recording device. You can also hit play, and I really like this down here. If we hit, first of all, we can click this and it expands it. If you wanted to see, say you want to see exactly how everything looked on your birthday, okay? Let's say I want to go back to, and I'm not going to give my real birthday, but let's say I was born in 1982 and I was born on July 4th. I wasn't. But this is exactly at this time. It's 6:11 a.m. and I could even change that time. Maybe I was born at, I don't know. Maybe I was born at 11:01 on July 4th, 1982. I can see exactly where the planets were, which is pretty cool. We can also hit play. And this plays in real time, the speed that the planets would move. That doesn't really tell us much. So a cool thing is what we can do is we can speed up time and we can start seeing some of these and how they move. So watch as we speed it up. We see that the inner planets and the inner things rotate decently faster than the outer planets. It has to do with centrifugal force. It's like if you're spinning on a chair with your arms out and then you bring your arms in, start spinning faster. There are ways to get rid of these lines if you wanted to. I'm going to keep them up there just out of sake of time. So you can see the animation of things. You can move around. You can look. You can see how they move. You can zoom in. Obviously, that's very fast. I want to slow things down. All right, we can see the order of our planets. You can run it backwards and all that stuff. So I'm going to close that. Let me go back into here. There are, we can run it in full screen mode. There we go. Awesome. And something I want to actually turn off. Let's see if it's there. I would like to turn off all these, all the paths. Is that what I want? Yeah, let's hide those paths. There are too many of them. Perfect. So now, if we look, it's a little bit more clean. We can see things a little bit better. So you might think that's cool. Let's go a step further. Let's do this. Let's look at Earth. So I'm going to click on Earth. I think I can double click on it. Let's see. Okay. I can click here, and it's going to pull up my Earth information. Now I could obviously, for some reason I have the sun highlighted. Let me click on Earth again. All right, I double clicked on it. It's going to zoom in on the Earth. It might take a little while, and it pulls up this information. We can say, oh, I want to know about the planet system. It shows me it. I want to see just, okay, here's the planet system. Here's the orbit. All right, we can also click on structure. This part is really cool. We click on structure, and it shows us what the inside of the planet probably looks like. Now, obviously, we haven't dug to the center of the Earth, but based on the waves created by earthquakes and other information that we've collected, the amount of gravity we have and all that stuff, and as well as what's come up to the surface, we believe this is what the inside of our planet is made out of. You can actually explore other ones as well. So let me click out really quickly, and I'm going to switch. Let's see what night sky looks like. Oh, this is cool. So now, let me go back. How do I go back? All right. So I don't know if you saw that. I clicked on night sky while I was exploring. This is viewing, I believe, from the Earth's surface. And remember, I set in settings my geolocation to about where I live. And what we can do is we can actually set certain dates. So we could say, maybe I want to go back to my birthday again. I think I said I was born July 4th, which I wasn't. We can actually see where everything in the sky was, exactly how it looked. Maybe you want to see today. Maybe you want to go to today, and I won't waste your time, but maybe you go to today's date and you want to see, well, where is Mars? Can I see Mars up in the sky? You can download apps for that, which makes a lot of sense, but we can also search, and we might be able to find Mars, hopefully. Cool. Okay, so Mars is right down there. If we hit play and we speed up time, you'll notice we're following Mars as it goes around the Earth. At nighttime, it looks like it's going to rise just a little bit south of east, and it actually has the real time. So this is at 5:26 a.m., July 5th. So you can actually see exactly where it's going to be, and that could be for any planet. You can see where Neptune is and all that stuff. You can also double click on those planets and it moves to the planet view. And once again, you can see the structure of what we believe it's made out of, which is pretty cool. You can compare these planets. You can also pull up information about it. I have my students collect information about those planets. When I was in my science class, I had them do that. We can also just switch planets from here. I could look at the moons. Let's go to Saturn. Saturn is pretty cool. Obviously, we can see this, but Saturn has a bunch of moons, and so I want you to see this. If we click on the switcher, these are its major moons, and we can look at each one of those. And they don't have the structure, but some pretty cool stuff, right? We can even hit play, and we can see how things would move around move around it. I think we just saw Saturn go behind it. So it's a really beautiful view. You can change the viewpoint, you can change your angles and all that stuff. So it is a very cool tool, very, very nice. And you can explore a lot of things that maybe you didn't know existed. We can look at planet explorers. We can look at these dwarf planets, right? We can look at our different planets. We can look at every moon next to those planets, the major moons. We can go to near stars and see the closest stars. I don't know if they have information on them. Let's see if we click on Sirius. If we click on Sirius, it looks like we can explore it. And it has some information from the encyclopedia. I think if we do night, yeah, this goes right back to the Earth, but where we would be able to see it and the time that we would be able to see it at. So pretty amazing tool, pretty cool information. You can see things now. I always like to talk about this. We have our inner planets. Those inner planets are solid. That means if we flew a spaceship there, we could actually land on them. So we could land on Mercury. We could land on Venus and Earth and Mars. Mercury is extremely hot on the sun side, extremely cold on the back side of it. So we'd either probably get burned on the sun side of it or freeze to death on the back side of it. So it's not a fun place to go. Venus sort of had a runaway greenhouse effect, we believe, and the atmosphere has sulfuric acid in it. It's not a very nice place to be, but there is a solid surface, and we've sent probes there to land on the surface and collect information and send it to us. Earth, obviously, we've been on. We can land on the moon. Mars, which is the planet further from Earth, from the sun, that's the one that we're sending, that we send a lot of remote control vehicles to, probes, and hopefully people one day. Now, if you look past Mars, you'll notice this. We believe that this would have actually, and I want to see if I can click on it. I can't. We believe that this would have actually formed into a planet on its own due to gravity and hydrostatic action pulling together. But what ended up happening was the gravity from Jupiter, because it's so big, it actually, we believe, starts pulling these apart once they start forming together. So there would have been another solid planet here, but it can't exist because of the gravitational pull of Jupiter. Now, as we move out into those outer planets, Jupiter and Saturn, Uranus, those and Neptune, those are gas giants. There is no solid surface. The moons have solid surfaces, many of them, but probably maybe all of them. I don't want to speak to that, though. I may not be correct on that, but these are gas giants, and there is no solid surface. So they are made out of gas, and if we click on it, for instance, we can look at what those gases are. So here I am. I click on Explore, and I can look at the structure. You'll notice that, okay, so in the middle, it does have solid rock, but this atmosphere is hydrogen and helium, and then this mantle is liquid metallic hydrogen and helium. So what would end up happening was if you landed on here, it would just slowly get thicker and thicker and thicker and thicker, and eventually be a liquid, right? Eventually you would get down to the solid rock. So I guess we could say there are solid sections of these planets, but it would be like swimming through the deepest ocean that just keeps getting thicker and thicker and denser, and it would not be a very easily explored planet as far as where we are with our current technologies. So this is Solar System Scope. Solar System Scope is a very, very cool tool that I love using with my students. Hopefully you have found it somewhat interesting, and I hope you go on the website and check it out for yourself. Thanks for checking out STEM with Mr. Duda. Please like this video and subscribe. You can also set the bell to notify you when I make new videos. That really motivates me to continue posting these things online and gets you content that you're interested in. A lot of times I will link a playlist. Maybe one just showed up here. I might also link a video. It might show up right about here. And sometimes YouTube decides what video is best for you, but sometimes I assign one. So thank you so much for checking me out, and have a great day, everybody.